Hello and welcome to the Forgeborn Finishing School. Casey, Kid, and Core here. We'll be analyzing Forgeborn battles to help take your game to the next level.
Hey everyone, welcome back. Casey, Kid, and Core here. We're going to break down the latest Ultimate Championship and then just kind of talk about PAX and then, you know, how some of these events are marketed and how you can stay aware of them. So the Liverpool Ultimate Championship that happened at the TCG Expo. This one was announced a little bit ago, Greg, and here, let's just take a quick look at the news article that Stoneblade posted. This was on September 29th that they posted about the Ultimate Championship that was going to occur on 18 November. And I remember I was pretty excited about this because this was kind of coming out of Worlds, and we had concerns about event pricing, really, and kind of prize support. And then we found out with this announcement that essentially it's a sealed Ultimate Championship, which we get excited about, and then that the booster was part of the entry pass to get into the expo. So you paid to get into the expo, and then you could just get a ticket and get a booster and play in this Ultimate Championship, which was phenomenal compared to everything that we've kind of had go on before. I think really like it was the salve to some wounds, and we all felt pretty appeased with that, especially with what I think kind of happened at Gamehole Con. I think the pricing there was a little bit more unfortunate. So, and then September 29th headed off, and we really didn't hear anything leading up to this thing. There's a little bit of chatter in the Discord online community, but that was just players talking about this. And actually, I give a shout out to some of the UK folks like PJ Brott and those guys were talking about it, but that's about all I heard about it. So this could kind of sneak up on you. So then we, at the event, I kind of say all that just to say, we had 6 participants. I'm sure that there's a very competitive sealed environment, but 6 participants with what felt like a very, very well-ticketed, well-priced event, right? You paid, I think it was $30 to get into or 30 pounds. I don't know the conversion rate there, but to get into the event, that's your badge ticket, that's your event ticket, and that's your free booster. When we went to TCG Con Denver, Greg, I don't even remember how much we paid to get in the door. Then we had to buy a ticket. Then we had to buy any boosters we wanted for sealed side events, right? On top of that.
Yeah, it seems like a really good. I mean, it's a really good deal to do something like that. So it's nice seeing that after some of the discussions that we've seen in the Discord and other community members have brought up. So 6 players. I mean, it's a little smaller, but it could be just that area obviously is hard to travel in places. And as you mentioned, we didn't necessarily see a whole lot outside of a news post that can be pretty easily missed. I mean, I miss these all the time. I signed up for the newsletters and I'm not seeing those. They could be in different locations, so I'll have to check that. But it would be nice to see some more awareness on the Discord. I mean, you have a lot of your player bases on there, so leading up to the event, putting out a message or letting people know, hey, this is going on. I know I'm not in the UK, but if I was, there'd be kind of things I'd like to see, and this would be similar to when we moved to the kind of the PAX discussion as well. But speaking just here in the Liverpool as well in the PAX, like having more of a more awareness brought up front, whether or not events going to be run there well longer in advance would be much more beneficial. It gets much harder to book plane tickets or find Airbnbs or hotels when you only have like a month and a half, 2-month window, whether or not you can go. And, some of us, you also have to plan around like our work schedules and our family schedules. So, knowing more in advance, like, if you were to say, I don't know how big PAX Unplugged is, but at Gen Con, it's, 2 months from Gen Con, it's almost impossible to find something affordable. Right. So,
yeah, that's all very good points. Maybe if we could get this news posting 3 more months in advance, 2 more months in advance. And then one thing I guess I'd really like to see, and they started doing it with Worlds, just kind of some follow through on that, like teasing up to the event or leading up to the event. Again, we'll get into it with PAX, but they kind of gave some cool information with PAX that I think could have been strung out over a month or two to kind of drive interest and get people involved or get people interested. And also, we're human beings. Like, if you tell me something one time, it may not be on the number one top of my priority list, but if I hear it 2-3 times, that's when my head starts thinking, maybe I do need to go to PAX. Maybe I need to figure that out. So I think they could, with this Liverpool Ultimate Championship, just kind of done something. Maybe it's a Forge Guardian highlight for the Forge Guardian over there, or it's a player highlight or a player interview, or just a snippet of TCG Expo and why they were so excited to involve Solforge Fusion into the base price of the ticket. There's a lot of things they could have done, I think, to just pass out information slowly in nuggets, crumbs of cheese to kind of keep us along, keep interest high, per se.
Yeah, some good information. Now let's look back here. Give a shout out to Josh Baden. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. If not, I apologize. I am terrible at words. So
I was wondering where you're gonna go with that. Like, was you gonna say names, which isn't fully correct? Is it pronunciation? Is it words? No, just kidding.
It's just everything that comes out of my mouth is bad. So.
Good
well,
stuff.
Let's take a look at the deck that won it all at the Ultimate Championship, and keep in mind this is a sealed event, so this is what he had to work with, and he took it to victory.
Yeah, it looks like an Umbruck pairing, which I love to see in sealed. It's typically one of my first looks. Dizzy and an Umbruck often are my first looks, and then I kind of look elsewhere, but always very strong. We're not sure where he went with his Forgeborn. If I were to have to take it, like, these are both very good for what this deck looks like it's trying to do, but I think Spell Surge at Cycle 2 is just too weak to be a factor. So I would assume that they went with Sunder, but that might not be correct, because these are both line up pretty well with what this deck looks like it wants to do, sitting at 7 spells. So it could, but some of those being Exalts doesn't play super strongly into Dark Forge Strain, so that's why I think I'm just kind of leaning into Sunder. I'm going to go off that assumption, but I'm not sure. What do you think, Greg?
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. I mean, with it being I think you get more consistency out of the Sunder throughout every game. I think Oros with the Dark Forge Drain at the end and Sealed could be just like ending somebody, but
Devastating, yeah.
Yeah, but that probably isn't what you're banking off of. So I think you're probably going with the consistent play. You have a lot of decent spells, so you're going to be wanting to trigger those, and so the Stim Bolt works out. Some of the Swarm works out. So I think you go that route.
Yeah, and this if they did go with Dark Forge Drain, this deck has a lot of innate, maybe not a lot, but it does have some innate breakthrough. With the Eruptor, and then the Heartseeker potentially.
Or even
really, it's just bumping.
Yeah, you could use the Ice Crusher aggressive.
Yeah, so there's options. Either way they went, but this deck is just solid big creatures, which is great and sealed. One shout out I want to throw to Ator the Thunder Titan. This is very quickly becoming one of my favorite sealed cards. Mostly because the 4/6 at Cycle 1 isn't bad. It's not great. But it's attached to something that makes your opponent play differently for the rest of the game.
Yep.
And if you could throw a 4/6 out there, and then all of a sudden now you're forcing your opponent to worry about one lane in particular, you've kind of set yourself up to maybe have a little bit more freedom of movement elsewhere or other things. And if you can get this to flip, he doesn't have a ton of creatures that would be great at that, but a few, like the Ice Crusher with aggressive, you mentioned, some of the breakthrough, things of that nature. And then there's enough removal that if something's in this lane, they could potentially remove it with Fireheart Idol or Scorchmane Dragon, potentially a Shard back, things like that. So, options exist. And then once this is flipped, then they really have to worry about this lane. Then they're constantly putting things in this to stop it.
Yeah, and then we got a card in here that we kind of talked about, in a prior episode, the Spiked Carabus. He's got some decent dinosaurs in here, so like in a sealed, I like this.
Yeah, just last week this came up. It is a fun card, and it does wonders. Warbringer Ritual is a solid card, especially level 2 is really where it kind of spikes in power. So if you had that Sunder Cycle 2 ability, Stim Bolt into a Warbringer Ritual, you're flipping a lot of spells with spell sprites. So that's a pretty strong little combination as well. Just a lot of good things here. I'm not 100% certain we need to nail down a bunch more, because I think this is all cards we've really kind of talked about. I will say the Shardplate Behemoth is one card that I'm always happy to have in a deck, but I also kind of rarely play it. It's really matchup dependent in my opinion, but this is one of those cards that can remove a Dark Art Sorcerer in Cycle 1, which is key.
And even like a late Cycle 2, like Cycle 3, Cycle 4 drop, if you just need to do 8 damage, like that's still pretty decent at that point to remove a threat.
Yeah, and then I guess another one I want to talk about is Burnout. Burnout is a card that has been played quite a lot, and it fits into a lot of different archetypes. With Thundercrash Fields, it's great. With any kind of attack increase decks, but in Sealed, I think it's also pretty strong. But this is a really fun combination. I really like Warbringer Ritual 2. So let's go back to that Stimbolt scenario. You Warbringer Ritual level 2, you drop 2 spell sprites. You get to play a spell for free. That's a Burnout. You play another spell sprite. They all get buffed a little bit. The first 2 get buffed quite a bit. So it's a nice little combination.
Yeah, the Burnout works well in this deck because, again, it's got a bunch of big bodies. And so...
Yeah.
And then it's also got, the free spell, the sprites level 2, and then it's got, the Glowhive Nursery with the spell sprites. Like, there's a lot of things going on with this deck that I like, especially for a sealed environment.
Yeah, if this deck gets a hold of the board state, there's probably no stopping it with the Carapace, the Ferocious Roar, the Nursery, Twin Strength, Burnout. It's just going to buff anything it's got on the board. Heartseeker, I mean, it's going to... Yeah. So, again, congratulations to Josh Baton for taking first there. Small tournament, probably very competitive. Being in the UK, this is their second Ultimate Championship. So I'm guessing that we got some repeat customers, and it's a pretty good event. We will jump over to PAX now, Greg, which I think we have a little bit more information to break down. Essentially, here's what's very interesting. So you talked about how the marketing gets the emails, and sometimes you don't get the emails. Before this episode started, I said, I get the emails, and they sometimes go to my social spam, so it's an extra effort for me to find it. I didn't see this until you pointed it out to me. So that kind of shows you that even I know my emails get lost into the spam folder, but I have to know when they come out to go look for them. And if I don't know that, I'm rarely going to go find them. I swear I've told Google to stop doing it. They just don't care.
And I only went and found this because I was just prepping to discuss for the episode, like upcoming stuff, so.
Right. I do know that the Fifth Cycle has a bot in their Discord that kind of throws out news articles when they come out. So that's very helpful. If you're not a member of the Fifth Cycle Discord, jump in there. They have a bot that in its own channel just drops all Stoneblade news articles. I think the RSS feed, which is very nice. But this is packed with a lot of information, Greg, if you could break this down for us.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I think the two things here, we're going to have an Ultimate Championship at PAX, and we're also going to have a storyline event involved with it. And they talk a little bit about what's, what each of those occur. They also talk about having draft pods during it looks like Friday kicking off, to accommodate players. A thing that I kind of took away from it here is they're going to be offering for the storyline event $30 entry fee, but that comes with the booster, and then everybody's taking home a playmat as well. And so if it's a legit playmat, that is an awesome, like, this is kind of what we're talking about, and this would be something that I'd be, excited to go to. And unfortunately, it's just way too much travel for me. But this I think this is a good step, good move going forward as things. We kind of saw something with the Liverpool, you see, and now here. And then even the Ultimate Championship event is only $12, which I think is appropriate as well. I think that's acceptable as well. So I think we're starting to see more of an alignment between SBE and the players, and so that's always good to see that and seeing those directions moving forward. So also, I really like this. This looks awesome. If anybody gets one of these, hit me up.
Yeah, I was gonna say Greg's putting out a bounty right now on this mat. Yeah,
Mark, if you're watching this and you're going to PAX, you get one of these, let me know.
Yeah, and once the Cersei Blighted playmat comes out, I'll be all in, I'm sure. I like what you said, and we mentioned it last week, that Stoneblade does love to listen to the community, work hand in hand with the community, and make changes where they think it makes sense. So it's nice to see those types of things aligning, kind of like you said. I think earlier in the Ultimate Championship season, things seemed out of line. Maybe not out of line, out of expectations is probably a better way to put it. But the support here, in Liverpool and in PAX, this seems phenomenal. Yeah, this playmat looks great. I love that it's emblazoned, with the PAX Unplugged. It's kind of a, hey, I was there, I got it.
It's a very nice feature.
Yeah, the Fuse Fest one had a similar thing. Just a subtle Fuse Fest logo in the corner, and it's just a nice little reminder. Especially for me, I've said it so many times that Fuse Fest was a catalyst for me to get into this game all the way, because it was such a good experience. And anytime I play with that playmat and I see that Fuse Fest logo, I get that kick of nostalgia, that rush. And so it's going to be nice. And it's going to be a nice little reminder for anyone that gets this mat and gets to play it. So I also like, this is packed with information that helps you plan your schedule, kind of like what you were talking before. And now you know about the pods that are starting Friday evening. So like if you're going to get there Friday, at 6 p.m. I can start doing some pods at night, maybe after I've checked out board games or however it is. I've never been to PAX Unplugged. That's one of the ones that's on the bucket list for me that we'll get to, but have not been yet. So... all right, let's just take a quick look at the current, amount of registrants, which is kind of just always an indicator of, the marketing that's being done for the event and how big it's going to be. So the Liverpool event was 6 players. Right now we have 6 players registered for PAX, and it kicks off in, I think, 2 weeks, give or take. So we're getting very close.
Yeah, 12-2 it looks like for this. What's interesting, we see 6 people here, and this is the lower entry event. This is the $12 event for the Ultimate Championships for the likeness on the card, and we've got 6 signed up. And then if we quick go over, and we can go through the players in a minute, this is the $30 event, and I think it's really like the everybody getting a playmat. That's a really nice feature. We've got 17 signed up for this for a higher cost event. So I don't know if that it's obviously a storyline event. I think a lot more people like playing the storyline events in the sealed, but it's just an interesting, like, why we have 17 for this and 6 for the Ultimate Championship. Is it a matter of like people's thoughts on the competitiveness maybe, or maybe the impact of the storyline versus just, winner take all kind of with the UC thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things. One, I would guess there's probably some small player base that, and maybe this is just my projection, that is losing a little bit of interest in constructed, not wholesale, but a little bit, just because this game sealed just makes so much sense. The game is perfect for sealed, and it's a lot of fun. But again, I think that's kind of a small version. I think the other thing is that this game is getting momentum with the storyline events. Like when you hear about Solforge Fusion, I think that's the first thing you hear about. And when I sell this game to people, when I tell people about this game, that's the first thing I bring up is their impact that they can have, and how they can partake, and what it means. And that's when people all of a sudden, the light bulb turns on, or the light behind their eyes clicks up, and I can see their interest. When I first started telling people about this game, that wasn't what I went to first, right? And it was hard to get them to sit at the table, get them to play. Eventually, I learned that I just start up front with the story of this game, and then say, if you come sit at this table, at this event, you get to dictate that story a little bit, and you get to be involved. You get to be a player, and I think that's probably the basis of it. And then for these large cons, the sealed seems more inclusive for newer players. Yep. And then the storyline is just more attractive. You don't have a competitive word attached to it, I would say.
Yep. No, that's all. Yeah, really good points. And we don't know what kind of events are going on at PAX as well. Where what events are going on that other people may be interested in. Maybe the second's a big day for some other things going on. But yeah, I think the sealed is very attractive for a lot of people, especially people that play more casually, more that aren't necessarily traveling so much, and we kind of see that here as well.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great event. I'm blown away with the play mats. Is there anything else you wanted to cover on these events, Craig?
No, I think we've covered a lot of them. I really like the direction that they're moving with these events as far as the support, and I think that storyline event's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, that was awesome playing that at Gen Con in the storyline event. I wish I could make it out to this one, and then just drive more awareness, give people more time. Let's get the word out there.
Yeah. All right. So I waited till the very end of the episode. So, I just want to throw one last thing out there. We're kind of entered the holiday season. And this is a season, I think it starts early this month. And then it kind of goes out all the way through the New Year's. And one thing that I do in this type of, this season of the year is just kind of reflect on the things I'm thankful of. And I just wanted to reflect on one thing for Solforge here. Well, really two things, but the most overarching thing is like the community of this game has been amazing, and I have made a lot of friends through this game. And the other thing is that it's kind of, I would say, reignited our friendship, Greg. This game has kind of brought us together, and I really love that. I'm very thankful for it. And so, it might not be everyone's tradition, but take a moment to just kind of think about the good things that Solforge Fusion has done for you out there in the community. And if you want, please drop something in the comments below. I would love to hear, if there's a specific person you met that made an impact, or a friend, or an event like Fuse Fest for me. I always talk about that. I'm very thankful for what Team Covenant did and what Stoneblade did to make Fuse Fest happen. And so I would really love to hear it, get a little sentimental if you want. I would appreciate it. That's all I've got.
Yeah, I would second that. And yeah, this is really what keeps me engaged is the community, and again, being able to enjoy this game and play it with you and talk about it, and meeting, everybody at the events. It's, I like going to the events and just being able to talk and meet up and go hang out, in the Discord. So it's been an awesome experience, and hopefully it can continue.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for attending this lesson of the Forgeborn Finishing School. If you liked this video, please subscribe, comment, or consider donating to our Patreon account. We look forward to our next lesson.